Hey everybody, so here we are. We're still working on validations. I think we're finally starting to see a bit of a light, a little bit of a way forward. So basically, I have my validation token, and let's see. I think it's probably already showing. Yeah, so that's so weird, right? Because the scene is being built out, even though I haven't been to it. And in my other project, they don't get built out. Um, the they don't um, um, components uh, within this thing doesn't get generated until it's been until you click on it. I don't know if that was something I set up over here. Um, so there was nothing special in there. Let's see, callback token. Yeah, and I'm not really doing anything special over here. I wonder what that's all about. It's so strange. Anyways, so we're working on validation, and I have my token, and the token is built out, is generating. So now I want to get my validator function. So I believe I have a const validator function equal to this dot UI validation service dot get validator for function for token, and that is going to get my validation token that I just got. And then I'm going to say if validator function is not equal to null. I understand it is like it can be a null if I remember correctly from the other day. Validator for token, the validator. Yeah, see, I can set it. It can return a null or a validator. So that's the only thing that can come from it. The compiler will not allow it. So JavaScript couldn't care less, but the TypeScript compiler will write the code to prevent anything other than null or validator function. That doesn't mean that you couldn't trick it in real time, but but that but the Angular compiler is going to do everything it can to prevent you from shooting yourself in the foot like that. So console.log, and I just want to see that this is a validator function. Um, validator function, validator, validate function. So let's see what we got here. I don't know what, hit bookmarks somehow. Yeah, so I have a function, so that should be good. So basically, I think I can get rid of this line, and I can replace it with this line. ers.push and validator function. So it's just going to be an empty array if there was nothing there. If it had gotten a null back, otherwise it should be right. So let's hope that that is correct. So let's come down here to the fog. It's exponential. And type in an A. Yep. So that code is working. So basically I get my token up here on line 60. Let me just close this down. Up here on line 60, I get my token for this path. So I don't need this. And then I guess this comment should go right there. And then I get my validator function. And if I get something from the validator function, I give it the token that I just got, and if it got something, then I go ahead and add it to the list of validators. And now I have a validation function. Now I think I should change up the way this get validator for function works. I was thinking about that this morning. UI validation service. Basically, this. No, I think. Well, yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, because the validation. Okay, so what I was worried about this morning was that if I change the validation, the validation service is positive floating validator, that it wouldn't necessarily propagate, but it will. It'll propagate all the way down to here, so I don't have to worry about that. So if I have a positive validation and I'm running it in some other scenario, and I'm getting it from this service, from the validation service, this guy validation service, and I'm getting this. If I change it up there, it'll change for everything that uses this, which is fine, which is exactly what I want. I think what's left is I've got to figure out a good way to, and this is another thing where things just get really just bizarrely out of hand. Um, it would be nice. I need to get a good way to get this information in here, and um, you know, it's like for fog density, what is, or I guess it's invalid for invalid positive float. Um, like we know it's going to be invalid positive float, so maybe I can get the invalid positive float. See, I guess what I really need to do is make this the token as well. And then if I know that this is the token, right? So has error. So, okay, so in my validation, okay, so let's tie this together. I make up the whole concept of an invalid positive float here. But maybe it would be better if it was actually positive float. I don't even know if you can do that. Oh, I don't think that you can do that. Because the minus is not legal, yeah. All right, so that's kind of a bummer. So can I change this to positive float? Okay, how does this positive float word? I made that up, right? I just made that up. I just totally something I made up. So let's see, validation service. So can I just do this? Just make that a positive float there. And I guess just kind of search the entire code base for positive float. Looks like I'm searching everything. Not, I mean, I'm just searching this interfaces, not everything. Let's go back one more. I don't think it would be outside of there, but so over here, could I just change this to positive float, and then the compiler will just find everywhere where it's broken. Just let the compiler do its job. Float. Float. positive float. Okay, so now, so that's the token. So now, oh, so I probably should change that to invalid positive float, because positive float is a bit confusing. So let's go back to our interface. Back to the interface. Interfaces, showtime, validation. Oh, so this is the validation types. So we're validating against, I mean, it's not ideal, but valid positive float. We'll just go through the whole process again. I mean, we'll probably have to, like on a fresh brain tomorrow, just sort of reread it and just make sure that it just isn't completely bonkers, you know, like it doesn't read in the weird bonkers sort of way. But it is kind of hard in real time. Like sometimes you just need a break, and then kind of look at it with fresh eyes. So we're saying if the token is equal to invalid positive float, then this is our positive float. So we're looking for invalid. I think that's fine. I mean, it's not like the best, but I don't think it's the worst either. And then I think we can tie in our, yeah, because now we have there, and so we know that this is the message for invalid positive float, right? Because I have a, inside of the UI validation service, I thought I added a message get. Did I not do that? Maybe I didn't. I thought I had, but I thought I already had created a service for getting this. Yeah, get validation text for token. And we want the validation text for this. So I need to also add that to here, another function that does the same thing here. So we'll just say get validation text for token. And then we're going to get the token, and that's a validation types. And we're going to return a string. And it's just, yeah, okay, so then, and basically what we're going to return is whatever we get from this dot validation service dot get validation text for token and token. And then we know the token over here, so I don't think this is horrible. Let's see if we can do this. UI validation service dot get text for token, and we know what the token is because it's this thing here too. So we kind of have like this double binding, which would probably be a little confusing. I don't think it would be terribly confusing, but you know, it's got like two branches of abstraction, which is, you know, not that bad. You know, it's a bit awkward, but not terrible, I don't think. It's completely broken today. Okay, that's weird. So, so did I break it already? Was it already broken? Was I just assuming? Yeah, something broke. Um, let's see if we broke this. Okay. So validation token. Are we getting the validation token? Token. Oh, it's still positive float. So for some reason, we're still getting that positive float. Did I just not save it? Okay, that is saved. Let's just do this instead of... We will put a debugger statement there and reload. And we'll step in. Let's just go ahead and maximize this bad boy. Step into this thing. Step into that thing. Okay. So that path looks good. Validation. So obviously something's wrong in there. Oh. And that, I remember saying, oh, it would be nice if I could force this to be when the validation types. But I couldn't. Alas, I couldn't. I probably can, but and that would be, I've proven the value of that. Oh, the thing was, oh, that's right. If this isn't an any, I can't do this inspection. So I believe it's invalid positive float. Maybe I could have a function that only returns a value and set that with a function. And I would be golden. I don't know if that makes sense. Like if I had a function that only returns one of these types, then I would have had to have set that to the type. I'll have to think about that. So I think we're right there. I think we just about have this thing whipped. Whip it. Whip it good. Okay. So then scene manager. Let's start UI validation service. So it's not going to be like the easiest thing in the world to make sense of this, but like I said, it probably be, if you can make sense of any of it, you can make sense of all of it. There's no real, you know, increase in overall cognitive ability required. If you, it's just, you know, the concept stays very similar. So I'm thinking there'll be two of these now. Yep. Valid floating point number, invalid point floating number. Okay, so now I think that's a little easier. I think it's very tempting, and I don't know, I'm still thinking about it, but I don't think I'm going to do this. But it'd be very tempting to make all of this its own like component that has its own ability. Like you just tell it that this is the fog density and it figures out what the possible errors, or you tell it that it's invalid, that the error is the valid point float, and then it figures everything out itself, and it has um, its own accessor for this inside of the TypeScript. I don't know. I think it might be a good idea, since I already have to know invalid point. I could have a component, and it could have an input of whatever this is, and then it could just print out whatever the text is. You know, I think that's a good idea. I've convinced myself. Anyways, how long is that? 21. Not great. Not bad. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.